Afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay,
Good
thank you.
afternoon, sir.
Good
Good
afternoon, sir.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, then you are, the dear distinguished invitees, senior professors, lecturers, dear students, and professionals. All you are warmly welcome to this webinar that is for introducing the book, the new book titled Advanced Human Resource Management. Advanced Human Resource Management. If you can't hear, then please tell me. I hope you are hearing. And
Yes, sir. We are audible.
yes, thank you.
Yes, very much audible. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is, you can see why, I thought of doing a webinar rather than having a physical function because of the main reason that it is more convenient for you. So that is why I thought of having this webinar. Also, of course, by using the latest technology, hopefully I will be able to give a reasonable introduction to this new book, Advanced Human Resource Management. Though having a webinar like this has some disadvantages, but anyway, I think you can bear also, it's okay. So you can see the cover, the Advanced Human Resource Management. So this is folded, and this is also, this side is folded. So back cover, then the front cover. So then, so this is my, in fact, this PowerPoint presentation is based on my preface. So you can see, I believe that human resource management will play a key role in determining the success and progress of organizations, employees, society, and the nature. So that is my firm belief. So normally, several years ago, the HRM was highly concerned with success and progress of organizations, and of course, the success and progress of employees. Recently, the modern HRM is concerned, in addition to these two, concerned with success and progress of the society. Society, the other people, then the families of employees. So they are basically in society. And then, of course, the nature. So that is the planet, the natural, in fact, the natural environment. Natural environment. So this book is on advanced human resource management, because I believe that it is a subject or course that covers advanced aspects of HRM in the education of management of organizations, particularly in HRM education. Of course, there may be many programs which do not have a so-called subject, advanced human resource management, but many aspects, I believe, are being taught, are being learned by students. In 2003, according to my memory, yes, in 2003, when I was serving as the coordinator for MSc Management postgraduate degree, I designed and started teaching a new course titled Advanced Human Resource Management to the postgraduate students who were reading for MSc Management, of course, with the concentration on HRM, specializing in HRM. Also in 2004, a course titled Advanced HRM. So when I was serving as the head of the department of HRM of the USJ, so that course was introduced and taught by me to undergraduate students. who are reading for BSc Human Resource Management, a special degree. So then, in fact, there was not a single textbook that covered the course content which I taught. So of course, I did not find, of course, what I did is I took various materials from various sources and then delivered the things without using a single textbook, because there was no single textbook that gives a full course content of Advanced HRM. So in fact, which I viewed and perceived to be taught by the lecturer and also to be learned by the student. So hence, this thought came to me. So I thought of developing an original textbook on Advanced HRM that includes a content. It's not a small one like having 100 pages or 250 pages like. It's really a content that should include a content which is sufficient to deliver a full course. So I mean by full course, at least 15 lectures. We should be able to deliver. The lecturer should be able to deliver 15 lectures at least. And then also a content which is easily understandable by our students, also which is effectively teachable by our lecturers. So understandability, and also teachability. Also which has unique theoretical formulation. Also which has systems or schemes that we can practically adopt. We can adopt without changing as they are, or adapt with minor modifications or serious modifications, and also which has international and Sri Lankan oriented applications to practice activity-based teaching and learning. So this is, I'm emphasizing this one, activity-based teaching and learning. That is a better practice from the point of the teacher and also better practice from the point of the learner. So therefore, this textbook is the result of that thought. So that's why, I decided, because of this thought, I decided to, write this textbook. Hopefully, it is going to be useful for at least Sri Lankan lecturers and Sri Lankan students. So with this book, I hope that a new HRM specialized course titled Advanced HRM, or maybe Advanced Aspects of HRM, will be introduced to HRM curricula of various degrees, professional programs in HRM, or related fields in Sri Lanka, which like business administration, business management. So especially this type of course is useful for master's students who are specializing in HRM. Then another reason for writing this book, so you can see the topic of Advanced HRM indeed holds special interest to me. So then, in fact, I am pleased to share what I know with you. So this is the objective of the book, to provide a systematic and rational understanding of Advanced HRM based on a model called the Generic Model of HRM, was developed by me, both conceptual understanding, theoretical understanding, and also practical application-oriented understanding to the reader. So hopefully it delivers a systematic approach to the analysis and handling of major issues in Advanced HRM, not basic or general HRM, in Advanced HRM. So then I attempted to present complex subject matters in the way that simplifies English language with the intention of enhancing readability and also ability of understanding of the reader. You know that most of our students come from an underprivileged educational environment. So therefore, seriously, I thought about them, just like me, or so many years ago, I can remember when I started my bachelor's degree. So I also came from a very rural area and, from an underprivileged educational environment. So therefore, I thought of that. So therefore, my English is very simple, but definitely it is distinct, readable, teachable, understandable. As done by me when writing my previous textbooks. So this is going to be my 19th book, 19th book, textbook. So then I would like to give a strong advice to the teacher in case of using this book and the student. What is that? Before teaching or learning the contents of this textbook, it is essential to teach or know basics of HRM. So I have not used the word the before basics because the meaning of basics of HRM also depends on perception of various scholars, authorities. So therefore, there's no so-called the basics of HRM, but anyway, I mean fundamentals of HRM. Fundamentals of HRM. So therefore, the student, must have a general understanding, a basic understanding of fundamentals of HRM. So to that type of student, a course, based on this textbook can be offered, can be taught. So therefore, that is my strong advice. So I have mentioned this one also. A course based on this textbook is ideal for a student who has successfully studied the contents of the book titled Human Resource Management Personnel, which I published in 2009. That is generally considered by some of students, yes, as the Sri Lankan Bible of HRM. So normally, if that had been studied, then it is ideal to deliver a course based on this textbook, Advanced Human Resource Management. So this is also very important. This slide, what I have written on this slide, it's also important. I should stress that. So I must mention here that I did not have a team of developing this textbook employed by a publishing company. Sri Lanka is a developing country. Of course, we don't have professional staff for publishing. Not like, unlike the, American textbooks, UK textbooks, if you refer to a good textbook, you can find that, there are many people, involved in developing a textbook of this nature. There is chief editor, then chief editor is there, assistant editor is there, assistant programmer or something, designer, various people are there involved. But this is Sri Lanka, so I didn't have, such a staff, professionally qualified staff. So therefore, I had to, I had to do the hard work of word processing, designing, editing the language, editing the writing, and also proofreading. So I had to do by myself. So it gave me a lot of pain, but anyway, what to do? This is Sri Lanka. So then key features. So therefore, be careful, when you compare this book with, the other foreign books. So be careful when you do that comparing. Don't forget the context of developing this type of book. So therefore, there might be a few errors. It's okay. So then key features of the book. Chapter objectives, of course, then chapter summary, useful frameworks, including the generic model of HRM, which I'm going to detail to a certain extent. Then instruments and tools developed by myself and other authorities to measure various HRM constructs or concepts variables and to deal with certain HRM issues. There is schemes which are practically adoptable or adaptable. So there are schemes, just like my the book, Human Resource Management Personnel. that has a lot of tools, schemes, programs, which, practitioners can apply. Of course, our students also, when they go to the actual world of working, hopefully, I mean, of course, they, I know very successful my students, so they could apply successfully the things given in the book. So therefore, schemes in this book also, I have included a certain number of schemes, practically, which are adoptable. That means as they are, we can use, or adaptable, which changes appropriately to suit our situation, our condition, so we can use. The real life and interesting examples. Depending on the time, I will show you some of them. Then review questions, then article reading assignments. So normally in my previous books, I couldn't do this type of thing. So I introduced this one, article reading assignments, to this book, Advanced HRM. So almost all the articles except one, all the articles were written by myself, maybe jointly or alone, because of copyright things and also the easier way of understanding. Also in line with what I have written in the book. So therefore, article reading assignments. At least for each chapter, there is one article reading assignment. Of course, some chapters have 2 assignments. Then activities, most importantly, from the point of the learner, cases, critical incidents, and skill builders. Cases, critical incidents, and skill builders. So indeed, this book has 121 applications, activities. Another word, the popular term, the applications, so specifically activities. So 121 applications are in this book. Out of 121 applications, 62 applications were developed by me, and 59 applications were developed based on materials written by foreign authors, in order to give the international favor, international exposure, because this type of subject, of course, basically was born in developed countries, so not like in Sri Lanka. So therefore, also to make this knowledge international, international. Also, there are many things, of course, there are many things that we can learn from foreign cases, foreign critical incidents, and skill builders. Also, the glossary. So there are 10 key features of the book. So I hope, so I recommend that, this is an essential reference to anyone who wishes to become an appropriate HRM specialist, professor, lecturer, or scholar. So this is my heartfelt wish. May this book contribute to increase learning and teaching of advanced HRM among students, professionals, university and college teachers, and of course, finally, hopefully, to enhance development of organizations, employees, society, and the nature. So nature, I have not forgotten the nature. That is natural environment. That is basically the greening perspective. So any suggestions for the improvement of the book, after reading, are welcome for further development. Okay, then directly, in order to show you the realities of the book, so I'm going to use the PDF format. So I think can you see this one?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now I am dealing with this PDF version, PDF format. Okay, so then you can see here the brief contents. So please remember, this is not going to be a lecture. This is not a lecture really. So therefore, this is an introduction to the book. So then I think with that understanding, please listen to this one. So then brief contents. There are 12 chapters. So this human resource management first chapter, hopefully I will make a more detailed introduction. And then internal organizational environment, external environment. So normally most of the textbooks, do not discuss these environmental aspects. But only few textbooks, they talk about. But I thought of developing a separate chapter for internal organization environment and a separate chapter for external environment. Then a strategic HRM, then employment planning, staffing, human resource development, rewards management, employee and labor relations. Then this one is a unique chapter. You can't find this type of chapter from any other textbook. So this is a unique chapter. Hopefully I will be able to deal with that also, depending on the time. Then the evaluation of human resource management. Most of the textbooks also do not have a separate chapter on this. So I thought of, because nowadays this evaluation has become a very important focus of theoretical people, also the practicing people. So a separate chapter was developed for that also. Then international human resource management, a very comprehensive chapter, very simple chapter, simplified chapter was developed. Then glossary and subject index. So this is the content. So you can bear with me. So I go in this way. Okay, then the acknowledgement, of course, my sincere, deep gratitude and appreciation really I express at this moment also. I have done it in the book to all the authors whose written work and ideas were useful in writing this book. So without their ideas, of course, I would have not completed this type of textbook. Of course, my parents, loving parents, they are not now living. And my teachers, so likewise. Okay, then we are here, the chapter 1, human resource management. So you can see the chapter objectives. There are 8 objectives which are ideally expected to be achieved by successful learners. Of course, in case of a successful lecturer, he or she must be able to achieve these objectives. I mean, he or she must be able to help the student to achieve these objectives. The meaning of human resources. I told you, this is not a lecture. So then let me show you this figure. Normally, generally, human resources, I have used this HR as a plural term, also as a singular term. So don't worry about that. So HR as a capital, then HR as a strategic driver, then HR as a unique resource. So I have reasonably described and explained these 3 views. Then the definitions of HRM, you can see my popular definition. which I formulated in how many years? Yes, in 1995, when I first published, in fact, my second book, but the first comprehensive model-based textbook in the field of HRM in single medium. So then that was translated into English in the book published in 2009. So likewise, HRM is the efficient and effective utilization of human resources to achieve goals of an organization. So I revisited this. Still, I have used this one because still this is useful. This is useful for studies, for learning purpose, even for teaching purpose. And you can see here, this exhibit that gives, if my memory is correct, 15 definitions. Yes, 15 definitions. So in fact, I did a very comprehensive study about 34 definitions given by various authoritative textbook authors. And I have not given all the definitions, but in this textbook, I have given 15 definitions. If you are interested in knowing the full details of the my study, please refer to this Opatha 2021. So then from that study, it was possible for me to identify 20 characteristics of HRM. 20 characteristics of HRM. So you can see, very interesting. This is the inclusive definition of HRM. So what I call is an advanced definition of HRM. I'm not telling that this is the definition, advanced definition of HRM, but at least this is a good definition, if not one of the best, at least good, at least according to my perception, at least according to my perception. So inclusive definition of HRM. So full details, you can get if you refer to this publication. Freely you can download. If you go to my research gate, freely you can download. So inclusive definition of HRM. So basically HRM is the adoption of certain functions and activities. So activities come under functions for utilizing employees efficiently and effectively in an organization to achieve its goals, which include satisfying the key stakeholders, at least 4 stakeholders: the owners, employees, suppliers, and customers. Of course, now I have included the nature, society, and all this to the possible extent, because that according to stakeholder theory, there are contradictory needs and wants of stakeholders. So therefore, fully we will not be able to achieve their goals, but to the extent which is possible. And then, of course, contributing positively to the natural environment. I am stressing always this nowadays, so I will do that even in my future teaching and writing. The natural environment, the greening, contributing, preservation of the natural environment, conservation of the natural environment, non-pollution of the natural environment, and creating looking-like places to natural environment. Something, so greening, that is greening, which is a must. Everyone is responsible for that because the success of everyone depends on the successful availability, adequate availability, rich availability, non-harm availability of the nature. You know that. So then it involves formulation, implementation, and ongoing maintenance of strategies. So, strategies are long-term plans, long-term actions. Then policies, basically they are principles for thinking, principles for decision-making, principles to be followed. Then procedures, basically they are processes, which have steps to be, functions to be completed or to be followed in a sequential way to achieve certain things. So in fact, A procedure has steps, you know that. Sequentially to be, which we will have to perform. Then rules, basically regulations. Then practices, they are what we are doing actually. And then systems, of course, systems will include strategies, policies, procedures, rules, or even budgets. You know that. So then it involves formulation. I mean, we have to formulate these things. Then we have to implement these things. And we have to maintain these things with appropriate changes. Okay, so they are regarding managing employees at work. Of course, strategically, by using strategic perspective. Then participatorily, by using partnership perspective. And then, of course, sustainably, by using sustainability perspective. Okay, then now HRM models. Of course, there are several models, popular models in the HRM literature. I have not given all the models, but I have selected, according to my memory, if my memory is correct, I have selected 5 foreign models. So let me show you, just showing. This is matching model by Devanna, Fomrum, and Tichy. So normally called Michigan, they are from Michigan Business School, USA. So Michigan model of HRM. So you can see this one. Michigan model of, Michigan model of HRM, that is called the matching model of HRM. So I have described and explained even the given major points of the models. So I did not use the critical perspective. What I mean is, I have not criticized these models because I believe that these models were developed by appropriately qualified scholars. So therefore, they are always useful. They are, even though they may have some omissions or disadvantages, weaknesses. But anyway, I have forgotten all these things. What is useful, so I have discussed. Then the Harvard model of HRM, of course, that from the famous university, Harvard University, by Professors Beer, Spector, Lawrence, Mills, and Walton. You can see the Harvard model. Then the model of HRM by Davis Guest, normally I call the UK model from London School of Economics. So then the framework for managing HR through strategic partnerships by Professor Jackson and Professor Schuler. It's a very comprehensive model. Normally, the normal textbooks do not discuss this one, except the books written by Jackson and Schuler. But anyway, I thought of discussing it. I mean, in the chapter. So very comprehensive one. Then ARDM model, ARDM. So A stands for acquiring human resources. R stands for rewarding HR. D stands for developing HR, human resources. M stands for maintaining and protecting HR by even switch. Okay, then this model, you can see the Sri Lankan model. So developed in single medium first in 1995, the model HRM by myself. So that is, of course, an internally focused model. That model doesn't have environmental aspects. Mainly, I utilize the functional perspective. So you can see the model. So that gives 18 functions of HRM, starting with job design, ending with labor relations. And you can see here objectives, strategic goals, and of course, the generic purpose. So that is to generate and retain an appropriate and contented human force. Of course, simply the right human force. So it gives the maximum individual contribution to organizational success. So purposefully, I have not mentioned here the team contribution because in team setting, V side is there, I side also there. Without I side, there is no V side. So that's why I have mentioned here that giving the maximum individual contribution to organizational success. So it represents team working also. So still this model is valid, then why a new model? So what is the purpose of having a new model? Of course, this is an internally oriented model. It doesn't focus on environmental aspects. Of course, environmental aspects, modify HR systems that we are following in a particular organization. They have significant, influences. So that's why I thought of developing a generic model. So in fact, the model came from one of my publications, one of my studies. And then from that publication, if you go to this one, 2021, the second paper, two mains here, the second paper, published in the same year, 2021. So if you want to know the details of how I have developed that, you will be able to know that. So freely you can download it. So this is the generic model. So you can see 7 components of the model. 7 components. I hope the entire figure now can be seen. Internal environment, then external environment. They affect HRM functions, fields and functions. Of course, all these 18 HRM functions from this model, they are here also. They have been logically grouped into 5 fields or areas of HRM. What I call areas or fields of HRM. So employment planning, blah, blah. And then they contribute to generate HR outcomes. So there are 17 HR outcomes. And then they will contribute to organizational outcomes. So HRM outcomes occur at individual level. Organizational outcomes occur at organizational level. So 17 here also. So these are employee-related outcomes or results, or HR function-related results. These are, of course, business-related or key stakeholder-related results. Here, these things. For example, employment from 1 to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are concerns of the owners. So they relate to satisfaction of owners' goals. So in fact, these outcomes can be perceived as goals of the organization. These HRM outcomes can be perceived as goals of HRM. But not like this now in a more advanced way, covering 17 HRM outcomes. So these are recent concerns of HRM outcomes. In fact, these two, number 16, number 17, they are more recent concerns of HRM, ethicality and greening. Here you can see, a new factor missing from other models, HRM academic and professional factor. This includes creations and innovations of appropriate academics and professionals. These creations and innovations will modify, will shape, or may shape HRM practices, HRM systems which are being practiced in organizations. So therefore, they can have a significant influence on HR practices. So that's why I have added this one. So then this is a unique feature of this model. And also this one, feedback through evaluation, which is also missing from all other models. But anyway, you know that without evaluation, nothing can be successful. So in order to evaluate the success of anything, it is essential to do evaluation. You know that. We want to know how far and how well these HR functions have been performed. We want to know to what extent these HRM outcomes have been achieved. We want to know to what extent these organization, whether these organization outcomes have been achieved. If achieved, then to what extent they have been achieved. So without evaluation, we can't get the information. So therefore, to be better, to be the best, we want to do this evaluation, that is feedback through evaluation. So I developed a separate chapter for this, and for each field, a separate chapter. So then amounting 5 chapters for this box, and a separate chapter for this, For these, of course, I didn't develop separate chapters. They have, because they are usually discussed in almost in all chapters, because they are results, outcomes. So therefore, it is theorized that these affect HRM fields and functions. Hopefully, if these functions are performed successfully, we will be able to achieve HRM outcomes. Then the achievement of HRM outcomes will result in the accomplishment of organizational outcomes. For future benefits becoming better and better, we have to do this one. So that definitely gives a feedback. Okay, so therefore, in fact, ad hocly, I did not develop this model. This model was underpinned by general theories and perspectives, such as stakeholder theory, then system theory, and then symbiosis perspective. Rather than, what is this zero-sum perspective, I did not apply here to develop this model. I applied this symbiosis perspective, and then the resource-based view of the firm, then institutional theory, strategic perspective, and sustainable perspective. So if you want to know details of how this model was developed, then please refer to this article. Okay, then branches of HRM. So normally I don't use branches, I don't use the words, areas of HRM or fields of HRM to branches. So normally branches, to explain branches, I use the parts, Branch is a part. Or maybe we can say a sub-field, sub-subject of the HRM. So mainly you can see here there are 7 branches: strategic HRM, green HRM, social HRM. So the main content has been given within brackets. Then economic HRM, general HRM, and evidence-based HRM. So this, in fact, this comes from that feedback component of the generic model. So then strategic HRM, of course, is a well-established now, even though most of our people cannot understand really, and then our practitioners do not really practice it. According to empirical evidence, then especially, Professor Ajanta's studies about practice of strategic HRM, and several others, and then, of course, my own observations. Anyway, there is an overlapping between strategic HRM and economic HRM, but I have clearly demarcated economic HRM from strategic HRM, even though they are highly interrelated. Okay, then next, this one, the importance of HRM. This is very important. Learning importance of HRM is very important to develop a right attitude within everyone. The person may be a student, person may be a practitioner, person may be a teacher, anyone. So even top managers. So I will come to that, because our top managers are having a wrong attitude about HRM. So we have a big problem with barrier of practicing HRM in an ideal way, at least to a more systematic way. So anyway, so then for the, I can remember, yes, a comprehensive study was done by me in 2019 in order to explore the case for teaching HRM in management education. Then as a result, 13 common reasons were identified. So I have mentioned them. So if you want to know, especially the teachers in HRM, they want to know the details of the study, please go to this article. 3 means, in the same year, up to this, I have published 3 papers. So this is the 3rd one in the same year. Okay, then what is this? Another advanced aspect of HRM and personal management. So let me ask some questions relevant. Is HRM a synonym to personal management or simply an alternative term to personal management? Is HRM a new orthodoxy or an established orthodoxy? Or personal management? Is personal management an established orthodoxy? Here the orthodoxy means, a set of concepts, processes which are popular in a particular period of time. And then is HRM a rhetoric, a beautiful term, not really a real thing? Or is it a reality? Can it be seen, observed in reality, rather than a matter of semantics? So a good reader of what I have written will be able to get good answers for these questions. Then, of course, the hard and soft perspectives of HRM were described and explained. And then the HRM cycle. This is a very, very important thing. This is a very popular model developed by Divanna, Fomram, and Tichy. So then one message, one lesson that we can learn from this one is, assume you are a teacher. So if you teach HRM without teaching selection, rewards, appraisal, and development, the teaching is incomplete. If you are a student, if you learn HRM without learning selection, rewards, appraisal, and development, that learning is incomplete. So therefore, it is essential at least to teach selection, rewards, appraisal, and development in order to, so as to become that teaching that is a kind of, good teaching in HRM. So therefore, these are core things. So therefore, when we develop a program in HRM, so we must, we should really remember and adhere to this one. Then even for a practitioner also, if a practitioner practices HRM other than these 4, that practicing is not complete. So therefore, it is essential, mandatory, indispensable to develop systems about selection, rewards, appraisal, and development if you want to achieve, the expected HRM outcomes and then resultant organizational outcomes. Right. The next one, vicious circles of HRM. So in fact, according to the foreign literature, only one vicious circle can be seen, because normally we know that, even in Sri Lanka, we have many organizations which do not practice HRM in a proper way. According to my observation, for my first doctorate, I have really went to, I think, more than 40 firms in Sri Lanka. So I understood HRM was not being practiced, say at least to a very high level. Only few organizations, we can, I have observed they are practicing, but most of organizations, they don't have. Even public organizations, they don't have so-called this, not so-called. This ideal should be or would be HRM. Would be HRM, ideal HRM, ideally, if I talk about. So the main problem comes from, these top managers. There are other problems also. So therefore, this the from the literature, we can find one vicious circle that is called vicious circle in personnel management, developed by a UK scholar, Professor Legge. So then if you examine this one, you can see management policy of non-involvement of the personnel department in the planning process. So this is a problematic or difficult situation. This has the impact of generating these problems, ultimately which will lead to a cause to, again, the same problem to occur. I mean, the same problem to occur again. That's the meaning of a vicious circle. Vicious circle. So therefore, we have to make an injection to break this one. Of course, please, if you read the relevant materials, you will be able to understand. Then based on my Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan observation, so I understood that there's another vicious circle. Another vicious circle can be introduced. So I did that one. So I have given a label to that unsound HRM practice vicious circle. This is the starting point. Lack of top management support owing to wrong attitude of HR. Then this will create these things. Wrong behavior of top management towards HR. Now, blah, blah, all this. Okay, so therefore, if we, so we have to break this one. We have to develop a right attitude of HR within top management in order to get the top management support. Okay, the time is going fast. So sorry for that. So then philosophies of HRM. So I have given this a typical philosophy which can be adopted or adapted by the practitioner. An example, good example, the philosophy of HRM that has beliefs, values, and principles. Okay, then you can see the summary and then review questions, then article reading assignment. Really, you can download if you go to this link. This several links, 3 links have been given for the same paper. Then the questions and then the activities. These are activities. Skill builder, critical incidents. So likewise. Okay, all right. So then references. Then this is the chapter 2. So internal organizational environment. So therefore, my advice is, don't teach this type of thing. Normally, some people follow just foreign books, and then they normally, after the introduction to HRM, they have a chapter about environmental things. Then most of our lecturers start teaching environmental aspects to our students, but that is not a good practice. It's not a good idea. Because, in order to understand these things successfully, the learner must have a bit, an understanding, a good understanding about basics of HR, especially functions of HR. Then they will be able to understand these things. Because, here we have forces, internal forces, external forces, So in fact, 11 forces have been described and explained. But here you can see, on the objectives, 12 forces. So from one application, you can find another one. The learner can find. Many things have been discussed. So, okay, this one is a very useful one. This one, organization size and its effect, Organization size affects number of HR professionals, adoption of labor laws, labor market, systematization and sophistication of HR practices. So, I mean, what do you mean by systematization? That is the extent to which HRM systems are systematic, planned, well ordered, and methodological. Now, what is sophistication? My working definition is that it is the extent to which organization, HR practices are in an impressively complex and educated nature. So you will be able to, a good reader will be able to understand what I have meant. Okay, so then technological, various things, have been discussed here. the nature of HR leadership, highly, so very useful one. Most of the textbooks, they do not discuss the trade unions and all. Then the technology here, various aspects of the technology have been discussed adequately. Right. Then this one, this next one, the chapter on a strategic HR, the external environment. This is a very comprehensive one, chapter 3. So still we are here. So anyway, mergers and acquisitions, various, processes were developed, especially regarding diversity management and other things. Even especially I have discussed about this technical system, the impact of technology on human resources, employees, the relationship between technology and human resources. I have detailed. All right, even some Sri Lankan figures, So anyway, the time doesn't permit. Now the time is 5:56. Let me go to the next chapter. What is this strategic HRM? So I have observed that many, Sri Lankan teachers find it difficult to teach really strategic HRM. So hopefully my chapter will be a good solution to the teachers, also to the learners. So this is the chapter, strategic human resource management. Simply I have explained, distinctly I have explained, describe and explain. From one of my studies, it was possible for me to find 18 specific aspects of strategic HRM. In order to know the full details of the study, please refer to that article. So I have mentioned that here. So then out of these 18 dimensions of strategic HRM, I selected the most important 3 dimensions. So they are alignment, coherence, and integration. So fully, almost, in a detailed way, I have described and explained them and given some examples. Even here, the HRM role in strategy formulation of strategic management, figure-wise, and all this alignment. It's a very important thing. Alignment, then integration, and the other one is coherence. If you really read this one, definitely you will be able to understand. Then barriers to strategic HRM and some solutions were discussed. And many examples in the form of applications, foreign examples, and some hypothetical local examples. Okay, so then, so likewise, this selection chapter, employment planning, yes, before selection. So likewise, you can see, of course, my consultancy experiences I have utilized, especially in order to develop several applications in selection. When I was serving as a as a member of the council of our university, I was requested to solve 8 HRM problems, actual problems relating to selection. So then 8 systems were developed and then adapted, and the relevant problems were settled nicely. By selecting the most appropriate person to fill the vacancy and also not having any undesirable interpersonal conflicts, intergroup conflicts. So some of applications were developed based on that experience also. And when it comes to international HRM, of course, most of the things were developed based on foreign literature and also my MBA thesis, which I did for my MBA at the University of Birmingham. So my dissertation was about a theoretical study of international HRM and then empirical study of international HRM. For the study, I selected Unilever. So then based on that also, I have developed certain things. So you will be able to find them interesting, hopefully. And yes, this one, yes, I got. Okay, then let me deal with this one also because it came. This is under the chapter, yes, human resource development. Several years ago, Bank of Ceylon invited me to evaluate 127 senior managers, I mean middle managers. Their title, senior manager and the manager. 127 managers were evaluated. So then I gave certain things and then they were accepted by the management. So surprisingly, my results were compatible with their performance evaluation results. The assignment was about assessing potential of middle managers in order to develop them up to senior management level. So this incident was developed, this skill builder was developed based on one of actual, reports given to one of actual managers. Of course, the name has been disguised. So likewise, things are there. Several things were developed based on my reading, based on my own practical experience, some, and so likewise, some based on foreign materials. So I believe the content is, of course, will be useful, if not very useful. Anyway, this one, another interesting thing is under pay management. So I introduced a new approach that is called open approach to job evaluation. Normally, almost all the textbooks discuss about a closed approach to job evaluation. So I introduced a new approach called the open approach to job evaluation. I have given one application. Another thing is, according to my memory now, that depending on time, health triangle, under employee relations was introduced. Normally the health triangle, the concept health triangle can be seen in medical literature, cannot seen in HRM literature. That was introduced to HRM literature and several other things, many more. Time doesn't permit. Okay, so then, sorry for going like this because my scheduled time is 1 hour. So therefore, if you can get a copy of this, definitely you will be able to do that. So this is the glossary. Some original definitions are there. In some step, in case of some established concepts, I have used the foreign definitions, but I have given the relevant references. Okay, then I hope this is enough for the introduction to the new book. Then the limited number of copies I printed. So in fact, I have no any intention of earning profits from this book. I have done this as a service to the nation, especially in general management education and specifically or in particular, the HRM education. So then the copies are available at Sarasavi Bookshop and also at the Department of HRM, University of Sri Jayewardenepura. So then I have several copies. So the if you are interested in, then you will be able to buy. And any questions if you have, you can raise.
Yes. What is the price of this book, Professor Opatha?
Yes, the price. In fact, I would have priced this one to the amount that is 1,000 by considering 10,000 by considering the cost and all these things, but I have not done it. Simply the price is only 5,000. But
Okay.
the pages, how many pages? More than 750. More than 750. Only
Right.
5,000.
Mhm.
So then hopefully I will be able to cover my cost of printing.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thanks. Interesting. Well done. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So then really, yes, yes, there are 160, yes, 67 people are still listening to me. Really, I appreciate your being with me
Thank you for
online.
inviting us.
And I know that your time is very important, your effort is very important, your money is very important. So, but you have joined with me.
Yeah.
And that is a real encourage to me.
Senior Professor Opatha, can I ask a question?
Yes, you can ask.
Yes, I would like to appreciate your wonderful contribution. I had always been a lifelong learner and I enjoy reading your valuable stuff. I would commit myself to write a review about your book, and I'll
Thank you
look
very
forward
much.
to engaging with you in getting a copy, and I will definitely write a review about
Yes,
your
Professor Ajanta,
wonderful
you are on the
contribution to
right
human
track.
kind.
Thank you, right. Okay, right then. So then, may all your dreams come true. And I really appreciate your participation again. All the best wishes to the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All the
Thank
best,
you very
Opatha,
much.
sir.
Good luck. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you so much. Hello, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.